Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, the NewDentist Coach, with another episode of Ask Dr. Darwin on the NewDentist Coach podcast show. When you guys ask questions about getting into dentistry, surviving dental school, getting into residency, and even becoming a dentist here in the U.S. Been getting a lot of questions and inquiries about that. Also, be sure to tune in every week on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and even Sundays like today. I will be releasing new videos, and I don't want you guys to miss them. So please subscribe and comment to this video and other videos on Dr. Darwin Speaks on YouTube. Hit the bell notification at the top, and so that you guys don't miss those videos when they come on. Today we're going to be talking and chatting with a dentist from Ghana, all the way Ghana, about how to and some strategies on entering prosthodontics as an international trained dentist. So those are the things that you're going to be learning about today, some strategies, and hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get started. So I want to welcome Dr. Dominic to the show today. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good.
Good. So we have a slight delay. Some of that is due to the fact that you're all the way in Ghana, some 4 hours away, at least time-wise, but I'm sure flying there is a lot longer than 4 hours. So tell us a little bit about yourself so everybody, the listeners, can hear a little bit about your story. And we know you're from Ghana. You know you've a dentist practicing there. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and the reasons for why you want to come here to the U.S. and do prosthodontics.
All right. So my name is Dr. Dominic Donko. I graduated from dental school from the University of Ghana, School of Medicine and Dentistry in 2016. I've been practicing for 2 years now. And during my practice, I've noticed that dentistry in Ghana is a little bit behind. Most of the time I get patients, I see patients and we have things like retained roots and we have to restore them and things like that. But the thing is, in Ghana, implantology is not really a big thing. It's not being taught at the graduate level. When you finish dental school outside, I realized that when you do dentistry, your final year, you do something on implantology, a practical course on it. But in Ghana, you just read about the theoretical part of it. You don't really insert implants. So I did more research into different aspects of specialization in dentistry, ortho, endodontics, maxillofacial, and prosthodontics. And I came to the realization that the residency program I would like to do is prosthodontics because of what it entails, prosthetic dentistry, everything prosthetic. So then during my research, I tried to find very good schools, and I realized that US schools are really pretty good for prosthodontics. So I've been doing some research into it, looking at the requirements and things, and I was checking on YouTube, normal Google search, everywhere, everywhere on social media. Then I happened to see your video on YouTube, and I went oh, I should just email and see whether I can get any new information or anything to help me to achieve my goal.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So what information, so let's start with there. What information have you been able to find regarding programs in the U.S.?
All right. So the first thing is that I went to the American Association of Prosthodontics to get all the schools that offer residency programs in the U.S. So I did that, and I got a list of schools from Boston to NYU and some other schools. So I emailed every school personally, asking for the requirements required. And so far, I've realized that most of the requirements required are transcripts, my certificate showing that I'm a dentist. Some require GREs, some require TOEFL, but most of them require TOEFL. Mm-hmm. And also some require the board exams part 1 and part 2 for the residency program.
Right. Okay. Now, what else did you find in your discovery? Did some of the schools require that you have a? Go ahead.
Yeah, some of the schools are for Army personnel. So if you're not an Army personnel, that disqualifies you totally. And I realized that most of the dates for entry is in September. And I also realized that for the 2019-2020 year group, like the deadline is already up. So the best chance you can get into it is 2020-2021 for
Right.
it. And also in my information about the board exams, I realized that they are going to discontinue the board exams. Like, I think the board exams are part 1 very soon, I think in 2020 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. There's going to be a new integrated board that's going to start in 2021, and but they'll still have a portion of it. So so you're right. So it looks like you've done some homework, which is great. Which is great. What about did you find out that some of the programs require that you have a U.S. dental degree?
Yeah. Some require that.
Right.
Yeah.
So for many people like yourself that have been trained internationally and that want to come to the U.S. either for residencies or for licensure, usually that's probably the biggest barrier or the biggest obstacle that most people have to complete is that getting that U.S. degree. Now, there are several schools throughout the country that have an international program. You mentioned a couple of them already. You mentioned BU, you mentioned NYU, University of Pennsylvania, UCLA, and the list goes on and on. And they have either a 2-year program, and some of them now even switch back to a 4-year program. You have to do all 4 years all over again. So really depending on the schools that you're looking at will dictate whether you're going to be having to do 2 years or 4 years. Now, that's the thing that you have to kind of keep in mind for these postgraduate programs, especially for pros. They want you to have a U.S. dental degree, most of them. There are some programs where they will train you as an international dentist. However, you won't be able to practice in the U.S. until you get that U.S. dental degree, right? And I do know that there are some international dentists that are coming to the U.S. that are being sponsored by their countries to get the training here, but afterwards they are going back to their respective countries to practice and using that specialty in their countries. So that's something to keep in mind as you're continuing to research the requirements and look at programs. However, if you're more inclined and willing to get that minimum 2-year degree of doing your dentistry training here in the U.S. and an international program in the U.S., then that might be another way of not only being able to practice, have a license here in the U.S., but also to get that training, of course. Have you given some thought as to which path you're willing to do?
I was hoping that I didn't have to go start dental school again for another 2 years, and I could directly enter into the residency program but then again, weighing out the benefits, like finding out about how dentistry is practiced in the US could also be beneficial. So I'm up for that.
Yeah.
If that's what I have to do.
And that's good. That's good that you're actually up for that. It actually will give you, like you said, it will give you more insight to how dentistry is practiced in the U.S. And usually most of the international programs, especially the ones that are 2 years, you will enter into the dental school class as a group or as a small cohort, but you're pretty much into the clinical portion of the training, not necessarily all of the didactic that most dental school students are going through the first and second year. Usually international students from most of the programs get entered into the third and fourth year, so the third year of the 4-year dental school program. You still may have some didactics, but one of the advantages is that you, like you said, you will glean and understand and get more exposure to how dentistry is practiced and taught here in the U.S., and which could be very, very beneficial as you transition into the specialty areas. So that's good. So that's good that you're keeping that as an option. So best approach. Well, the best approach, I think, or one of the best ways to a strategy to attack it is, being the fact that you are open to it. I would be looking at 2-year international programs or schools that you already know, or that that you'll find out that they are very welcoming of international students. The ones that I just mentioned, I'm most familiar with. BU has a 2-year program. I think Tufts University in Boston has a 2-year program. The University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia has a 2-year program. We've had some residents that are been graduates of that 2-year international program. Also, out on the West Coast, UCLA has a 2-year international program. And actually, I want to make a comment about the UCLA program. They also have an externship for international trained dentists. They have externships in pediatric dentistry. They have them in pros. They have them in endodontics. And I think there's another one where for a year, it's an intensive training where you get an externship and you get a chance to see how the specialty and also how dentistry is practiced at UCLA. And then potentially you could still apply to the residency programs, but you still may have to meet the requirements, which may be that you have to have a 2-year, have to have a U.S. dental degree, at minimum of a 2-year through an international program. But UCLA, I actually just talked to a current resident that did that program 1 year after she finished her training in India, and then she liked it so much she made the decision to stay in the U.S. and apply to dental school as an international dentist in a 2-year program at Tufts. And she got into Tufts, did the 2-year program, and she's doing a general practice residency, a general dentistry residency right now, in preparation for her to go into pediatric dentistry. So that's the pathway that she's taken. But that may be a strategy for you to look into UCLA and look at their international externship program that they have for foreign trained dentists. So that may be one of the approaches. Second approach, we mentioned, exploring the 2-year international programs that are here in the U.S. so that you get more exposure to the U.S., how U.S. practices dentistry, but also allows you to qualify you for all the other programs in prosthodontics throughout the country, as you've seen, as you noted, on the American College of Prosthodontists. That's another option. A third approach may even be the Canadian schools. There are some schools in Canada. There are some schools in Canada that have. We got some feedback there. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. There are some schools in Canada that take international trained dentists, both in their dental schools and possibly even in their specialty programs. The university, I think, Dalhousie University, the University of Toronto, and there's the University of Montreal, all have dental schools. And you may want to investigate and look into the Canadian dental school programs to see if there's a possibility of entering pros through that pathway as well. Outside of that, other ways that you can find out more about programs, or even maybe start to meet people that run these programs, is I would even consider, as an approach, going to the American College of Prosthodontics, going to their annual meeting, right? You've been on their website already, so I would search their website and find out when their next annual meeting takes place. And if it coincides with you visiting the U.S., that may be an option for you as well. Going to that meeting, getting a chance to see firsthand what American prosthodontists are learning, some new novel approaches to treatments and procedures, but also because lots of times at those meetings, the prosthodontic programs will have socials. They'll have socials for all the alums, to all the different schools where they have a PROS program. They'll have a social, and you'll have current residents there, but you also will have those that graduated from the program years beforehand. And going to that social or being at that meeting allows you to do some networking where you can meet some people and talk to people like you and I are talking face to face. You can get a chance to meet them and talk to them and find out more about their program, and also get your face in front of them. So, you know, it almost like you're setting yourself up so that when you apply and they see your application, they can put a name to the face, a face to the name later on in the future. So that's also a good approach, or something to consider if you're able to come to the U.S. and go to one of those meetings as well. How's that sound?
Yeah, I never considered that idea about going to the meetings of the American Prosthodontic Association. It makes a lot of sense.
Yes, yes. And in addition to that, there are a couple of really big meetings in the U.S. Where international dentists come to the U.S. specifically for those meetings. I can think of two right now, and they're in Boston, and the other one is in New York. The first one is in New York. It's called the Greater New York Dental Meeting. The Greater New York Dental Meeting. It's typically in November. Usually starts the day after Thanksgiving. So usually like November 23rd. And it runs from that Friday after Thanksgiving all the way to usually that following Wednesday. One of the largest U.S. meetings in the country. Has a very, very large international dentist following, almost to the point where they have their own program. There's an additional program just for international dentists. And we're talking about dentists from Europe, from South America, Australia, Japan. Everyone's coming to New York doing that convention to congregate, meet, interact, network, and learn. So that's another consideration. And then the second meeting is in Boston. It's called the Yankee Dental Conference. Yankee Dental Conference. Also very, very big, very popular. Has an international, a U.S. and an international flair to it. A lot of people will come to that meeting. Also very large and well known for a lot of great continuing education. To not only learn about PROS as it's practiced here in the U.S., but also internationally, but also for the networking. And that's one of the things is going to be very, very key for you, because right now nobody knows who Dr. Dominic is, right? No one knows who you are. No one knows about your aspirations of coming here to learn more about implants, to kind of jumpstart your treatment approaches, so that whether you're going to take them back to Ghana at some point or if you're going to stay here in the U.S. So no one knows who you are right now. And some of the things that I've mentioned are probably some best approaches, not only to find out more information, but also to get you to be known through these different programs or other prosthodontists that are in the U.S. that can help you get some more exposure to the programs and even help you get in too. All right. So, have you planned on coming to the U.S. anytime soon?
I had planned to come. I have a fellow Ghanaian, like my eldest brother's mate in high school. He has been practicing dentistry for like 10 years in the U.S. in Texas, but he didn't do a residency program. He came in as a general dentist with a program like 10 years back. Like, I've been talking to him once in a while, and I was planning to come to the U.S. next year to just come and see how his practice is in Texas.
Good. Good. Now, I'm sure that program that he came in on 10 years ago is probably it's probably not in existence anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, but, and then also you got to keep in mind, the political climate here in the U.S. has changed a little bit, especially for non-U.S. citizens, and it's affected us in dentistry, where a lot of people, if you're here for educational purposes, depending on the state, there can be some delays in getting your paperwork processed. There could be some delays in of you finalizing your studying here in the U.S., all because of just how the politics in the U.S. have changed a little bit over the last several years. But it doesn't mean that it can't be done. It just means that it may be some additional time or barriers that are associated with getting here for educational purposes. But coming to Texas and kind of shadowing him, that'll be good. That'll be really good for you to do that. Well, that's about all I have as far as some best approaches to how to enter the PROS program as an international dentist. Sounds like some of those things you kind of knew, some things you found out for the first time. So that's good. Yeah. Good. So
very good.
Good. I'm happy. So hey, I'm happy we were able to connect. Let's keep in touch. Even before you come to the U.S. sometime next year, you have my information, and I hope this has been helpful.
Very helpful.
Good. I'm so glad. Like I said, look at those schools that have international programs. BU, University of Pennsylvania, UCLA, Tufts. Those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head that are 2-year programs. But you can always Google two-year international programs in the U.S. You could do a Google search and you'll get something that'll come up immediately. You may also want to go to, it's called ASDA, ASDA, the American Student Dental Association, has a website, and they have a list of all the 69 to almost now 70 schools in the U.S. And in that listing, you'll have information about the programs, the schools, but also if there is a 2-year or 4-year or 3-year international program, that's what you're looking for, to find out, make a list of all those schools, and then dive in there. So I hope this has been helpful, Dr. Dominic.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So if you guys out there listening, this has been helpful for you too. Make sure you drop us a comment down below here, and share this video with other people that you may know, or colleagues that are trying to do the same thing as Dr. Dominic. And be sure to check out this next video. I think it's over here, right up top here. Check out this next video that's been set up for you. Hey, Dr. Dominic, take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.